Hey there, lovely people. It is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about how to rebrand your product or service. So, yeah, there's many things to make sure that we touch base on. But at the same time, you know me, I like to give you guys things in bite-sized chunks. And these particular ones are going to literally allow you to start thinking about things that you would never really think about, especially when it comes to understanding how to make sure that you rebrand your product or your service. So, folks, before you get stuck into this video, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel, because as always, yeah, there's a hell of a lot that I want to share with you guys, and I want to make sure that you are getting all the juicy little nuggets that I share with you right here in my videos, to be able to just make sure that you are understanding branding as a whole, because I know it's a lot to take in, right? With these bite-sized chunks, you get to understand not only what branding is, but equally what it can do for you, and equally how it can help you in your business, and the reason as to why you do what you do grow. The awareness of what it is that you do and why it is that you do is super important for others to know. I'm sure you're going to agree. So before you get stuck into this video, once again, please make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. And equally, folks, stay around to the very, very end of this video, because I've got a lot to share with you, and I've got a super cool gift for you even more so. So folks, let's get stuck into it. Okay, so as I said, we're going to talk about how to rebrand your product or service, right? And these particular things, I'm going to give you three in particular, but they're quite chunky things in particular. And when I say chunky, they're small, but will have a huge impact. So these particular things, there's about three of them, and I want to make sure that you are understanding each and every one of these things, because although they are small, they actually have a huge, huge impact on you and your business, and especially the awareness of why you do what you do. So with these three things, you're going to create each and every one of them, right? And the first thing I want you to think about is creating the journey. Now, when I say create the journey, I'm talking about the backstory, your story, your brand story. You know, I've spoken about the idea of brand story and how to sort of come up with it, and reason why it is actually important to have it. Well, this part right here will sort of give you an example as to why it is important. So when you create the journey, you are taking people on that journey, that branded journey with you, right? From the start all the way through to the finish. And I'll tell you what that finish aspect should be. Now, with your brand story or with your brand journey, you are helping others to understand the reason why you're going on this rebrand in the first place. So it could be something like, do you know what, folks, have realized that the product I initially started out with wasn't giving my clients all that I know it could give, right? Or maybe it wasn't delivering all that I know it could deliver. And so because of that, where it was helping people, I realized that there's even more that it could help people with, right? So because of that, I wanted to make sure that I now cover these aspects in specific ways to be able to now help them, because here's the reasons why. And then you list off your reasons, the discoveries that you've made, the reasons why you've made these discoveries, and how you even came about them. You start taking people on that journey, and you'll start seeing your type of engagement, or you'll start seeing the people actually resonating and reaching out to you in a kind of a way that really, really drives home to them as well. Because maybe they've experienced the same things, right? They're now relating to you. And sometimes it's creating that type of relationship where people can actually relate to you on a level that you wouldn't necessarily think of as actually being important, but it actually is, and it's actually carrying a hell of a lot more of an impact than what you think. Think about that. The next thing that you need to make sure that you're doing is creating the awareness, okay? So now when you create the awareness, aside from creating the journey, you're slowly but surely creating the awareness. So when you create the awareness, you start building on your message. You start building on the reason why you've rebranded, the reason why that this product has now the reason why this product now has a new face, or the reason why the service has now a new face, right? When you get to understand what that is, you get to make sure that you are talking to your audience, and that's to them, not at them. But you're talking to them in a way that, again, they get to resonate with. They get to understand, right. So not only was that the backstory or their story in general, or their reason why they continued on this journey or wanting to progress this journey, not only was it because of that, they're also doing it for this reason. They're now building on the awareness of it. You're now building on the awareness of it. Now, when I talk about awareness, just for added clarity, right? Your awareness is the idea of more and more people getting to know what you're about. The idea of more and more people getting to understand your cause, your fight, whatever that may be, right? When you're sharing that, you're bringing people in. You're connecting with people. You're opening your arms, right? You're being vulnerable to a sense. And yes, I do encourage you to be vulnerable where it makes sense to do so. Because again, you're going to make sure that you're actually not only resonating with them on a level that they understand, because again, maybe they've been through similar experiences, but you're also going to invite them in to understand a little bit about why you do what you do, right? And it builds. And remember in my previous video, I talked about the idea of repetition equals reputation, right? The more and more that you start building on your awareness is the more and more people that actually get to understand these aspects and these assets, okay? So, which nicely rounds it all up and brings me to this point number 3. Now, this particular point, and there are a few things that a lot of people will tend to miss out on because they just want to get stuff out there. They just want to just make it happen. And by the way, as much as I'm giving you these in short bite-sized chunks, it can actually be quite short, so long as you follow these chunks, right? So long as you help to build up the momentum, because that's essentially what these chunks are allowing you to do. And when I talk about momentum, the end goal naturally will be the idea of the reveal, right? And essentially, it's the idea of your launch. So you need to create a launch. So now you've taken people on a journey. Now you've created the awareness. You now need to create the launch, right? And again, there are many aspects that a lot of business owners are skipping out on because they just want to just throw it out there. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens, you know? To an extent, it is kind of like that in business in general. However, because we don't know whether a strategy is always going to work. However, I'm talking about having a strategy for a launch, all right? Rather than just doing it and just getting it out there. And maybe you may argue that's probably a strategy in itself. But at the same time, no, when you have these clear-cut points that you are following, yes, we can't always predict the future. However, we can just do what we can to make sure that these things do fall in place so that the awareness gets maintained, so that that journey gets maintained. All these things that you've created gets maintained, right? So that when you finally get to this point of launch, you get to entice people in as to what this whole rebrand is about. You get to even encourage a strategy that will allow them to understand what the urgency is and the reason why they need to do it right now, right? To be able to invest, to be able to understand and appreciate this rebrand, this launch for right here, right now, rather than later on down the line, whatever that may be for yourself. So, folks, I told you they're little, but they carry a huge impact, right? So these 3 points: understand how to create your journey, how to create the awareness, and then how to create the actual launch. When you cover each and every one of these 3 points, you've essentially helped yourself to rebrand your product or your service. So there you go. I really hope that this video resonated with you. Please go ahead and share it as always. Equally, folks, make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel because I want to make sure as many people as possible get this message and get to understand branding even more so. And on top of that, go ahead and click on the link that's in the description box below. Make sure that you download my guide. My guide is a book. My guide is tangible assets that will allow you to go ahead and elevate within your brand, get the awareness that you deserve, equally get noticed, and also understand how you can make better connections with you, your client, your prospects, your audience as a whole, and equally put that message out there that is congruent to you and your brand so that you can grow, so that you can make sure that your awareness gets built, and so you can make sure that these 3 points that we actually spoke about actually get heard and actually get received, even more importantly. So folks, I'm going to leave it there and I will see you on the other side.